Usually I have like some kind of story to tell, but I have nothing this time.
No, you didn't have any socially awkward and mortifying experiences in the past week?
Oh.
Okay, there we go.
There's a guy in the store today who insisted that we... So we still... remember how shopping bags cost 5 cents per bag?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then City Hall struck it down and said, you're not forced to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a customer who took that ruling as meaning that we not only do we not have to charge 5 cents, but we are forbade to charge 5 cents per bag, which is wrong.
Yeah.
You could charge like $10 if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's capitalism. So I wasn't dealing with him. I just heard him through the end of the store because he was speaking really loudly, and he kind of almost like he was having a confrontation with the cashier, and then he left. But he insisted that it was still a thing. But afterwards, I thought, he was so riled up at that time, and he had backed himself into a corner. I think if I had bet him $1,000, he would have taken that bet because he backed himself into a corner.
Yeah.
And he was that kind of guy where he would have been. And I was wondering, what is the legality of a gentleman's wager? Can you do a signed contract or an oral contract without hold up in court?
I think you mean taking advantage of someone's emotional state to make them sign a contract
Or
they
just
wouldn't otherwise sign?
Because gambling is illegal, right?
Yeah.
But
these sort of bets between friends,
Yeah.
it'd be hard to make them legally binding, I think.
But I don't think you could take it to court.
there's an oral contract, and they've had a witness.
Yeah.
But it would be, if it was a bet, it would be a contract for something illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And contracts tend to be for goods or services rendered rather than hypothetical.
Get them to give you a plastic bag or something.
Anyway, that was my story of the day. Joined by Andrew Campana,
Hello.
video
Happy to be here.
game scholar, I would say. Would you say that, Andrew?
Probably not, but I'll try.
Introduce yourself and tell the world
Okay.
about yourself.
I'm Andrew. I am doing my PhD right now in Japanese literature and digital media, which includes video games.
That sounds like a video game scholar to me.
Yeah.
My advisors told me to stop working on video games, so I might not be doing that for much longer. But for now, I'm happy to play this role.
Yeah, what do they know?
And Dark Souls and Demon Souls are pretty interesting phenomena in the overall gamescape of the last 10 years. So I'm really happy to talk about them here.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting to have you on here because
Yeah,
you're more an expert on this sort of thing than Nick and I.
Yeah, you're our most qualified guest by far. No offense to the other guests.
So say something interesting, Andrew.
Something interesting. Well, judging by the last episode.
That you saw, not the episode.
No. Well, you mentioned last time is just mostly you dying, basically,
Right.
because it's a part you've never played yet.
Yeah.
And that leads us to talking about that, Demon Souls and Dark Souls are infamous, of course, for being some of the hardest video games to come out in the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They basically single-handedly changed the conversation in the gaming community, where maybe in the early 2000s and leading up to it, with the beginning of this generation, games were easier.
Mm-hmm.
As simple as that, compared to the 2D stuff.
At least in North America, right?
Yeah.
Because there is this is almost like there's Monster Hunter, right? Which is very similar to Dark Souls in a lot of ways.
True. Yeah.
But it's never caught on over here.
Yes. Difficulty has always had its place in Japan. As you said, Monster Hunter is one of the most popular series there. But around that time, with the emergence of Xbox and the decline of the popularity of Japanese games in North America, they basically said they labeled difficulty as something, just like anime style, as something Japanesey, and they won't sell well here, so let's focus on other things people want. The Wii is so popular, let's focus on casual games.
Mm-hmm.
That's true, yeah.
But then this took off.
Yeah.
This is I think they did better than probably what they thought it would do.
Yeah, much better. No, it was a huge success. And there's tons of imitators now. Now, when you say something's really difficult, it is a selling point. Lots of indie games say
You got none left.
high level of difficulty, real challenge, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
I've
that's
seen
actually
that.
a selling point. And I'm not trying to antagonize the Wii or anything. I think it has an important role and sort of a straw man.
Well, it did have an important role. I
Yeah.
don't know anymore.
The Wii U is something else, but But I really think Demon Souls in particular really changed the conversation, which is why this game is so interesting to me. Like Dark Souls.
It's also like this is a Japanese game,
Yeah.
but I almost like it doesn't feel like it in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That may be part of its success, like compared to something like Persona 4, which has its Japaneseness on its sleeve at every moment.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't have a lot of the tropes you often find in Japanese narratives.
Yeah. Even if Final Fantasy is aiming towards Western fantasy, it's still clearly Japanese. But
Parry you?
No, he just jumped out of the way.
Oh.
That's grotesque.
It's like a zombie rat.
Well, that's another thing. If you think about all the Japanese games in the '90s, they didn't seem that Japanese. Like people don't immediately think of Mario as a Japanese character.
True. Yeah.
Same goes with Link or Samus.
Resident or like Leon S. Kennedy.
Yeah.
I mean, even like Pokemon.
Yeah, Pokemon is. Pokemon was on the edge. I'd say
Yeah.
Pokemon was sort of the turning point of that. But in the '90s, we're very much about sort of. They call it in Japan studies deodorization. So like getting rid of the Japanese odor of things. But this one, I don't think Dark Souls or Demon Souls actively tried to be non-Japanese to appeal to a wider thing, but they just really went with a pretty coherent aesthetic that just.
I think it was inspired by a lot of like Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings,
yeah.
And you could even maybe say
Conan.
Yeah.
Western.
It's definitely inspired by Western fantasy.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's no, like, the narrative is really sparse and sort of abstract.
Yeah.
So you don't have characters explaining things and talking and.
It's true. Which the worst kind of Japanese game tend to fall really deeply into, the Xenosaga type.
Metal Gear Solid.
3 hours. Oh yeah. One thing that does strike me as a bit Japanese to this game is its sort of pilgrimage structure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a really common trope. I mean, I've done work on this, but like Zelda, if you think about the Zelda games, all of them are pilgrimages. You're going from temple to temple to temple constantly.
And I guess
Final Fantasy X, it's all a pilgrimage. And this has pretty much a similar thing. I mean, what's that name of the vessel he has to go after?
Oh, the
Lord Vessel, which we have yet to get to. But
right. Oh, sorry for the spoiler, but that's totally a Holy Grail type of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I think, in the Japanese version, did they use the English voice actors?
No.
Okay, because I know that having like very British voice actors for the English version makes it seem very European fantasy.
Yeah, that's true. Well, British voice actors are pretty good at just transcending national boundaries pretty well.
Yeah, maybe
they
we
have
think
a sort
that.
of international neutrality to them in a certain way in the fantasy setting.
Yeah, I guess not often in American movies that are set in
it's not long enough.
other countries that don't speak English.
Yeah.
They use British people to make them seem foreign, but they're still speaking English, like Enemy at the Gates.
There's a lot of good British video games that I've played recently. One. So I played Devil May Cry, which is a Japanese video game, but it was there was the DMC, like kind of a reinvention of it.
Yep.
Was a it was a British game,
I have no idea.
and it was really good.
Was it?
I played that like twice now.
Who published it?
I forget the name of the studio, but it's
who
too bad
knows?
because it did not do. It was the same Konami, I think, whoever did.
So it was a Japanese publisher, but they
Capcom,
hired
that's
a,
right, that's
But
right.
a British subsidiary.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting.
There's a lot of very British things about it. Like, there's a lot of almost like an Occupy Wall Street sort of vibe to it. But the British spent like CTV cameras, and that's a very big thing
Yeah.
in Britain right now. Is watching
CTV.
all the time. Yeah, watching CTV.
I sort of wish that remember in Silent Hill, an American studio took the reins for that, like the Silent Hill Downpour and Homecoming, and they've been criticized for making the games just really fighty when they should be like really subtle and psychological. But I think a British company would probably have done a good job.
It's a shame it didn't sell very well, but I think nothing is selling well.
Yeah.
Things are changing really fast, and no one knows what's going to happen with Kickstarter, with
Steam.
Free to play.
yeah.
Buy to play. New
I believe
consoles.
I'm still toxic. Is that it? Is that
I mean, what's the most popular computer game in the last 5 years is League of Legends now.
Yeah.
Or Minecraft, maybe.
Well, Minecraft's up there.
League of Legends is making like hundreds of millions of dollars and
Yeah.
just selling new champions and
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so alive.
Oh, but it's freemium, right? It's like,
yeah. I played it for a little while, but
I mean, it's a pretty satisfying game if you don't buy all the extras like you.
yeah, I never
Yeah.
felt need to buy anything. It was just the community is really toxic,
Speaking of which,
just like Mike.
the problem I'm having is that these guys that make me toxic, and I have run out of the herb or whatever to stop that from happening.
Right.
So I have to not. I think I have to backstab them every single time in order to kill them and not get toxic. Because when they die, they release the poison.
Unless they're killed backstabbing.
Yeah.
Maybe you should shoot them.
But that's not my build.
Mm.
But there's this one guy who backs up against a wall to almost, I think on purpose, to avoid getting backstabbed.
So what build do you have now?
This is just like a strength build, like
Yeah.
a brute.
Just
It's like
started with heal, but
we try to do a cleric, but it is
What weapon is this anyway?
just a giant club,
Okay.
a big tree branch I found. I should be I may be able to use the next weapon at this point.
we just haven't gotten it yet.
Oh, oops,
Ooh.
that guy's still there.
The
I
heal
like
is
how
good
the arrows
'cause
stick out of
it
your.
lets you have
head.
more Estus, basically.
Yeah.
Oops. This is gonna be good.
Yeah.
Andrew, what do you think of Suda 51?
No, I've never played.
You ever played Killer 7?
Oh, well, I've seen a view being played, and I've seen Let's Plays of it. But what have they done since then?
So he did the No More Heroes games.
Yeah, those I haven't played.
He's
I
kind of
mean-
repeated himself.
Well, he has a very... it's not just an aesthetic, it's actually the whole package. Like, I don't want to limit it to just a visual style of it.
Yeah,
It's pretty interesting.
but I almost gotten bored with it. So this also happens every time we play. So I've gotten bored with it, and he did this game, Shadows of the Damned, I think it was called, which was like a collaboration with Shinji Mikami and because the Resident Evil 4 guy,
Right.
and the Silent Hill musician,
Oh,
which was
Akira Yamaoka.
that's the guy, yeah. And that was a good game.
Yeah.
But he's coming out with this new next-gen game, just called Killer is Dead, which just seems like a Killer 7
Right.
meets No More Heroes game.
Well, Killer 7's over 10 years old now, isn't it?
Things worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, normally nostalgia comes in 20-year cycles, but for video games, it's more like 10-year cycles. That's when you start expecting remakes or riffs.
Because there's a new generation of kids.
Yeah.
Well,
Or the ones who are playing them as teenagers have grown older and have buying power.
Yeah.
I wonder, Nintendo is really sticking to its nostalgia of its main, the Mario games and Link games to keep people. But
and
are there kids like
I worry
these
about
days that have nostalgia for Mario?
I don't think so. I mean,
I think it'll just be less and less each generation.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's for like what's Mario Sunshine? Like, it's not for the
Oh, God.
actual like NES Mario.
Because it's always your first one that you like the best.
that's true. Oh God.
Like Mario Galaxy.
Sunshine being your first. I mean, Mario Galaxy, I could definitely.
That was a good game.
it's
Those
a
are
good,
good games.
It would be a good nostalgia engine. Actually, it has this nice sense of exploring, or my little Le Petit Prince type of thing. But yeah, I think nostalgia could carry Nintendo basically forever, but it will diminish, like Nick says.
They'll just be a second tier behind the other Sony and Microsoft if they aren't already.
Well, I mean, they still sell pretty vast numbers. I mean, the
That's
handheld
true.
market basically.
Oh yeah, I
Nintendo.
forgot about that. That's true.
Yeah, and isn't Japan going really mobile at this point?
Oh yeah, for the last 15 years even.
Hmm.
That's where the vast majority of anything is done.
Don't they have better smartphones in
Yeah,
Japan?
I mean, even in the 90s, their cell phones had internet. Like,
They don't trust us North Americans to be able to.
We don't have
Handle
as
it.
good of a network.
yeah,
That's true. Canada especially. I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
3 of these guys. I hate these guys.
Yeah, I barely get 3G in Scarborough.
But actually, one of the most successful video game launches of the last year so far has been the new Animal Crossing game.
Oh
Wii,
yeah, I've heard a lot about
3DS.
that.
Yeah, huge buzz, huge sales.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the. I was gonna call it a new IP for Nintendo, but it came out 13 years ago. The original game. 14.
I never played it because I think you needed like friends to play. Like I think you really need to travel to another person's town. You know.
You need to do it at least once. Yeah, it's better. But
I had no other friends with a GameCube,
right.
let alone friends in general. So.
Oh yeah, you have to do an annoying thing with the link cables and.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they've been really bad with multiplayer forever. Like, remember Game Boy Advance? You have to.
Yeah, they really
Like
push that connectivity, and no one likes that. I don't have 4 Game Boy
Yeah.
Advances. I just want to play.
Like, remember with Wind Waker, which I really like, and you like that game too, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, except the end. I didn't appreciate sailing around. For
Oh,
like
find
10
the
hours.
Triforce
Yeah,
shards. That was
finding
stupid.
a map to find a map to find a map to
Ah.
find the Triforce.
You were
Yeah.
so close.
Oh,
man.
Yeah, I know.
toxic.
I'm in a good spot right now. Yeah, but anyway, there was the whole Tingle thing.
Yeah, I
which
never
I
actually
never
saw
did.
that in action. But,
Me either.
but basically, the whole idea of the Wii U is trying to recreate that, right? Like by
I guess
having
so.
the tablet as actual inherent part
Yeah.
of the system.
But also, there's the Microsoft Smart Glass, and
Yeah.
basically the other ones are just using actual tablets.
Yeah. Which I
Has
guess
pros
could
and
pay
cons.
off, but I would say it's a good plan. But it's not like the Wii U is selling well. So
But it's kind of like hedging their bets, I guess. Like if the Wii U does, which I don't think it will,
yeah,
they
that's
will.
fair.
If it does, do well.
It's also, it doesn't cost them
Catch-
anything
catch
in
on.
to make the peripheral.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
So
I mean-
they're not really losing anything except maybe whatever the coding cost
Yeah.
of smart glass is.
I mean, they're just banking on tablet connectivity being the next motion sensitivity, which
It's
who
not.
knows.
They're banking on motion sensitivity still being the next motion sensitivity.
Well,
At least
that's
Xbox
true.
is.
Well, it's proved itself money-wise, just not game-wise. Like the Kinect.
Mm.
It
We
sold
have
immense
one.
amounts.
So
Oh, is that? Oh yeah, there it is.
it's spying on us from top the TV.
Well, the analysis I heard was that Nintendo did just crazy well with the Wii,
Yep.
and then their shareholders basically almost forced their hand to come up with something new.
Yeah.
And so they just went, okay, we got people like tablets, so we're going to do touchscreen stuff.
Yeah. And
And they didn't have enough time to gestate or do anything really
Yeah.
actually.
or have any good games out.
Yeah.
I mean, I played. I forget what it was called. It's a zombie game.
Zombie U, I heard that was good, yeah.
Zombie, yeah. And use the tablet as sort of a scanner, so you can scan the surroundings at your. It's really cool. But
That was
I don't-
Ubisoft, was that?
yeah, I think it was the Montreal one actually. But I don't see it as anything much more than a novelty, really.
Hmm.
Yet. I mean, what I'm really excited about is something like a Dungeons and Dragons game where
Yeah.
That's what everyone wants.
yeah,
That's what- yeah.
one player is, and if there were 4 tablets, like you could do something that you couldn't normally do in video games, which is secrecy, right?
Hmm.
Keep your stats or your cards or whatever hidden from everyone else.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just impossible with video games as they are now, single screen ones. But of course, they came out that it's just going to be one tablet, and I was a bit disappointed.
I think there won't be a Dungeons and Dragons game because there's already 2 PC MMOs that are Dungeons and Dragons right
Yeah.
now. But I think they could easily just make a RPG that has a dungeon master.
Yeah. I think it might be possible because one of the most popular digital releases recently has been remakes of the old Dungeons and Dragons arcade games on Xbox Live, and like really tapping into vintage late 80s sort of D&D nostalgia. So I think if they I think that leaves room for a sort of a resurgence.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
D&D is still quite popular.
Yeah.
What is your favorite video game of all time, Andrew?
Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
See, I tried playing that for the Wii on the Virtual Console,
Oh yeah.
and I have yet to finish it.
Where are you at? Do you remember? How far did you
I
get?
don't. I remember I'm in the Jurassic time.
Okay, so near the beginning.
Yeah, pretty near the beginning.
I would push through. I think it's just
Yeah.
really clever and interesting. And
What do you think of the battle? Was the battle system one of the main draws? Because I remember I got to choose between the active and.
and the weight, yeah.
And the weight.
I mean, active is more satisfying usually. But
Hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's one of the main draws, but it is fun. I like the double tech, triple tech mechanism where you can pair up or trio up to do special powers. But really, it's more about the world and the dialogue and the characters, and it's a very easy RPG, and everyone agrees on that. But you don't mind really, it just because you're just so drawn into it.
I like easy RPGs.
Yeah.
So I'm not.
You don't like difficulty as a. That's not what drives you to games.
No.
It's fair to say.
But that brings us to the difficulty question. Like, obviously, you're good with difficulty, so.
Well,
I've read a lot of people saying that Dark Souls and Demon Souls and actually accomplishing things can be even a moving experience just because of all the shit like this you have to go through.
Yeah.
I mean, what's been your experience, Mike?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm good at difficulty as much as I am good at being persevering.
Yeah.
I have good patience. And
you can win any contest of wills.
Yeah. So eventually, and I have fairly good, motor hand-eye coordination. Right. So I will eventually learn the ins and outs of any game. But I'm not sure why. I think I didn't used to be this way either.
Right.
But it definitely like.
Would you get frustrated quickly, or you've never seen the type to do that? But
no, but I would always just do normal, and then
right.
I would just go to the next game. I wouldn't try it on hard. Whereas now I often begin on hard.
Right.
I'm not sure why that happened. I guess
maybe
needed something extra. Yeah, I must have.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is something more satisfying with, with the difficulty, with persevering and with overcoming a challenge, and it just feels like you've accomplished something. Like with this game, more than any game I've ever played. Like there are games that are harder than this game, which like I've yet to beat. Like, and this might be a weird example, but Metroid Prime 2,
right.
The hard difficulty on that, I've yet to beat, because and the programmers or the developers acknowledge this, that the mini bosses are actually tougher than the actual bosses.
Oh. That happens sometimes. It's pretty weird pacing.
Yeah, it's just like there's no like specific way to kill them. It's just like hit them until they're dead.
It's not like the bosses where they have like a weak spot that you.
And most of them, because there's a whole light dark element to it, where if you're in this like shadow area spot and like in the arena of the boss fight, you will. Oh my.
Hello.
I'm gonna die. Anyway,
it's coming after you.
I know. I'm gonna get to a spot where because I'm gonna die because I have no Estus, and I'm still toxic. I'm almost at health, so I'm gonna get to a spot where I can regain my health. Hopefully
your souls.
Yeah, my souls. Anyway, what was I saying?
Metroid Prime 2.
Yeah.
Unkillable unkillable, but.
Killable, but very difficult.
Right.
And there's this, because you lose health if you're in like out of like the light. So when you're in the dark world, you have these light spots, or you can pick up like light stuff to regain your health. But you're constantly losing it if you're not in that. And there's a lot of mini boss fights, where you're constantly losing health the whole time.
Right.
Plus, they're doing damage to you, and they take more. So it's just there was one boss where I just couldn't beat it.
That sounds frustrating.
Yeah. Also, Beautiful Joe.
Oh yeah.
Really hard. Like I'm really bad at fighting games. Are the games I'm the worst at.
But
you're good at killing me in Soul Calibur.
Yeah, but Soul Calibur is not. I think a lot of fighting game aficionados look down upon Soul Calibur because it's very button mash.
Button mash, I like that.
You and me.
We got better.
We got better at the button mash, but I think we're still not we haven't mastered it. And it's all about frame counting and all that stuff, which I know.
Yeah, that bores me.
Yeah.
Guard blocking.
Yeah.
I mean, I was always like a Zelda guy. That was my game.
Right. And Zelda isn't really about difficulty.
Well, the first one was the NES game, which
I
have only played on the Virtual Console as well, and I have yet to beat that.
That one's decently hard, and the second one's quite hard. But the side scroller one.
Right, which I also haven't played. Actually,
my
my first one was the Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, me too. Though I finally played Link to the Past last year, and I really enjoyed that too. And you could see that Ocarina of Time is basically a remake of that.
And everyone afterwards is a remake of that, right?
Yeah. Well, with the exception of Majora's Mask, which is
my favorite.
Yeah, it's my favorite too.
But I think We're probably in the minority with that view, right?
Yeah, no, it's not a
It's
possibility.
like, it's like Kid A for Radiohead, right?
Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it. Well, some people would argue it's more the Amnesiac for Radiohead.
Oh, maybe, yeah. What's the Kid A then?
Huh. I don't know. This analogy isn't working.
Taking this step too far. But, yeah, that game, I like how dark. The story is great. And it doesn't, it's not very showy. You kind of have to make it up. I mean, Majora's Mask.
Okay, yeah.
You almost have to make it up yourself.
Yeah,
Like the fact that the Deku scrub that you inhabit is like the butler, the Deku butler's like dead son.
it's so bizarre. I mean, you start in this nightmare scape being, and you're transformed into this nut monster or whatever the hell Dekus are.
Also, when you're escaping in that beginning, you can do like a bunch of backflips and stuff.
Yeah, which is fun.
Like, compared to Ocarina, it's like, oh wow, you can do this now.
And then you're in this random town in the middle of
Roll,
nowhere
roll.
before an apocalypse.
You just can't.
And you have to find an observatory in the sewer to collect a tear from the evil moon to give.
Yeah.
It's a bizarre game, but it has a sort of dream logic to it. It's like it's a bit Lynchian almost.
You definitely need a player's guide with that one too.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get all the masks. Like
And that's how you get the most out of it. Was all
You're
the.
gonna lose your souls if you go back here.
I don't. Will I?
Yeah. So Zelda.
Oh, whatever.
Zelda is a game where
Maybe
think
not.
having an FAQ won't take anything away from it really,
No.
except maybe solving one or two puzzles. But this game, you're playing without an FAQ.
Yeah, dungeons, I would say don't use an FAQ
Yeah,
for, but
usually.
for side quests, definitely.
Yeah.
We have
Getting all
used
the hearts and
FAQ
stuff.
in this.
Well, every now and then. But
I mean, when I first played it, I did not use an FAQ at all. I'm happy that I did that.
yeah.
But there was definitely things that I missed.
Are you
Which I can.
completionist usually?
No, I'm not.
That's good.
I almost wish I was sometimes.
Why?
Because I don't know. I guess I wish I could see everything in the game, but I'm like I don't have the drive to do it.
Right.
I guess I'm a completionist who just doesn't have the. I can persevere with difficulty, but not with the drudgery of.
Right.
It's weird.
You're not a grinder.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I don't like that's why I'll never like MMOs, just because of the grind.
Yeah. I mean, the only game I ever 100%ed, I think, was Okami. Did you ever play that one?
No,
It's only by the people who did Beautiful Joe or Clover Studios.
I would like that game. It was very Zelda-like, right?
Yeah, extremely Zelda-like, but yeah, no, it's a fascinating game. Really good.
That's like the painted looking one with the wolf or the.
Yeah.
There's a Wii
where you
version,
play
right?
the sun goddess. Yeah, they remade it for the Wii.
Was he was in Smash Brothers? No.
Oh, he was.
Was he?
Oh, yeah,
Mario
she
vs.
showed up there. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew.
Oh
it was in
yeah,
something.
yeah. That's right.
I actually haven't played that new one yet. But, that's a fun button masher too.
Yeah, I think this is like what I wish. This game that I'm playing right now.
Right.
Dark Souls.
Yes,
I think it's called.
Dark Souls, Birth to Die edition for the PC, is what I wish Zelda games would become. Like
I see to some extent, but one thing with these games is they seem to take themselves very seriously, and Zelda games always have this goofiness to them.
there's also like there's an absurdity to this game, as
Yeah,
far
that's
as
true.
like the cryptic nature to the menus and stuff. That I'd like to think is
Tongue in cheek?
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Or
know
just
about
knowing.
that just because the same company made all those Armored Core games, which I really enjoy, but are also equally as badly designed menus and really obscure storylines about corporations and the surface and weird explanations about why you have to be hired as a giant robot driver. I wish they would port that to the PC, but they
So I always roll.
you roll into it instead of rolling
Yeah.
away from it.
I need to. That's what I need to do.
I mean, the one time Zelda tried to go dark, I guess, was Twilight Princess. What did you think of that one?
I felt it was too derivative. I think
Yeah, of what?
of Ocarina of Time. I liked a lot of it, but not. I felt like it was a rehash,
Yeah, no, I'd agree.
which I didn't think every
But I
Zelda
mean-
game is. But
Playing Ocarina of Time right after Link to the Past, it's hard to not call it a rehash. Too.
yeah.
I mean, like,
Mike, why don't you go straight through those doors there?
Because I want to collect my souls, and also because I want to collect my souls, and I'm not sure from there how to get to where the souls are.
Huh.
And there's also those weird dudes with the like spheres, which I don't know. I have yet to figure out what their deal is. You know what I mean?
Oh, those, yeah.
The sludge guys. Or snail guys, I don't know what they
Like Roman legionary blobs.
Yeah. But I digress. What were we talking about?
Princess?
Yeah, so I like Skyward Sword better. In fact, I like Skyward Sword a lot.
I'd have to disagree with you there. I wouldn't call Skyward Sword derivative fine, but I guess Twilight Princess offered something new in terms of aesthetics and plot, and Skyward Sword was a bit... I mean, they remade his character design to look like teenage actors in a Japanese drama, and with fancy hair.
I think...
I don't know.
For a lot of games, I think a lot of my enjoyment of it is contingent upon my headspace when I play it, and for whatever reason, I was really in the right mood to play that game.
Oh, that's fair. That can mean tons.
Because I remember I got
Slow down.
so that Christmas I got Skyrim and that
Christmas
game.
2011. I think.
Yeah, and I tried playing Skyrim first, and it just didn't work.
Snooze fest.
I was going to ask you about Skyrim too.
Like I have yet to beat Skyrim.
It also worked horribly on the Xbox 360.
Yeah, it just kept crashing all the time.
Looks like crap.
Right.
You know, so many bugs in that game.
As opposed to PC or as opposed to
As opposed
PS3?
to
As
both.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you needed, if you want to play on 360, it might work better than PS3, but you would need an external hard drive, which you didn't have, in order to like load it onto it. Whereas I play with...
It would crash all the time. More than this game.
Yeah. And then I guess, okay, I'm going to stop playing this, I'm going to load up Skyward Sword, and I guess immediately click with me.
Right.
I think I really like Fee. You're the Navi of that game. I'm not...
She's unpopular, but I found her interesting too.
I think she's my... Well, I like Tattle.
Tattle's fine, but I mean Midna's amazing.
And
Really? You don't think so?
yes, but I just feel like she's... I guess cliched is what I want to use. I guess...
I mean, no one likes Navi. Tattle, I like the sarcasm.
yeah.
Midna is sort of sarcastic too, but a bit alien, and then Fee is totally alien, but funny.
Yeah, I guess I found it really...
Don't kick them.
I guess enjoyed it. It felt light and fun, and it's
Yeah.
like fresh.
No, I mean, it
I'm not-
reminded me of Wind Waker and that sort of raw de vivre type of thing.
Oh boy.
All right, we're making progress though.
Twilight Princess took itself too seriously again.
Yeah, and being too harsh on it. So I enjoyed it.
No, I enjoyed both of them.
Maybe you weren't in the right headspace at the time.
Twilight Princess. Well, that was a really annoying beginning with a bunch of dinky kids in a farm.
Yeah.
I have no patience for like fantasy stories that start in this pastoral village and then in blah,
I mean,
blah,
every
blah.
fantasy
think
story?
that
Yeah,
may be-
no.
That may be
yeah.
part of it because I felt the same way. Whereas I think I have a soft spot for beginnings, starting in a high school
Yeah,
or like a
no.
school setting, like a Harry Potter type thing.
And that was
is-
something very new for the series that Skyward Sword did.
And also the Zelda Link romance made more sense.
Yeah, I
It
agree.
wasn't so arbitrary.
They had actual chemistry, so he was like, okay, that's why I'm saving her, and not like, oh, she's this person I've never met before, and she's important.
And you remember the credit sequence to Skyward Sword,
Yeah,
where it shows from her perspective the entire story?
yeah, that was very clever.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
It's about time she gets her own game again, but it's not going to happen. I mean, the only game she had was what was the one for the CDI, the CD Philips?
Harry?
Was it in television or was it CDI?
It was,
Or Laserdisc or whatever?
yeah, it was one of those awful
Yeah.
disc drives. It's the one where like it was
Or 3DO.
subcontracted out to Russian animators.
Yeah. I forget the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Maybe I need to
Faces of Evil or something.
drop down on it.
Stefan always plays Zelda in Super Smash Brothers.
Is she good?
She's good when Stefan plays.
Yeah, he's unbeatable when he plays as her.
Does he stick to her princess form or sheep form?
Princess until it's one-on-one, then he goes.
Is like an idiot savant with that game.
I think he just played it as his only video game for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Like I think
I mean, I binged on the original and I just could never look at it again, basically.
Because there's tiers with that game, like every fighting game, and
Yeah.
she's not in the top tier.
Yeah.
She's far from it.
But
But he's just really good with it.
It's not like we're good at it either. I mean,
But he played like a really good. I won't say the name of this person because it's
yeah.
maybe embarrassing to that person. But he played a very good person who did like there's certain things that people who are good at the game do, like this like thing where you hang onto the edge.
Yeah.
like chain grabbing. And
Yeah, and then he used those techniques. I know he's not. He used the techniques of like a professional like
Right,
tournament level player and stuff, and still it's immediate. It's immediate.
I think it's because your weapon hits are slow,
Hmm.
not fast.
But it's also I should have a long range on it, you know.
Yeah, but you weren't. You were close to it when you hit him.
I don't think this is a episode where we'll be making much progress.
Yeah.
I did see that scary. Was that a dragon that I
Just-
came across before?
Just load up another
The
video.
one on the
and
bridge.
Yeah.
Listen to the
That
audio.
I ran
first.
away from and then died.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a dragon. Is there any way to skip all those toxic guys?
I'm gonna do what you suggested, Nick, because I think I already lost those souls I was going for.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go
Like, I thought-
towards the slug Roman centurion guys.
Yeah. At least you know.
The slug phalanx, which you'll understand in a second.
Actually, they are a phalanx, not.
I know.
They use spears.
That's why I said it.
Roman legions use swords
They use gladiuses.
until.
And Scooter.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Have you played Eternal Darkness, Andrew?
Yes. I was just gonna say the sort of aesthetics of this game remind me of that a lot.
That's what I've beaten that game maybe a dozen
I've
times.
seen you beat it like 3 times.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
I perfected that game
I mean, that game alone makes the GameCube worth it for me.
for sure. That and Killer 7 for me,
Yeah.
and Wind Waker. This is-
It's a solid system.
Yeah.
Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is also one of my favorite games if you've ever played it.
No.
It's a genuinely funny sort of it's a satirical take on the whole Mario series, which it's really good. Well, I'm writing a paper on it now, but
So yeah, tell us about what your studies. What are you
studies.
Well, doing at the moment?
I'm working on an article about Paper Mario and basically 2.5 dimensional dimensions.
I like that a lot.
So the thing with Paper Mario is that it's sort of a parody of a thing called Mode 7 on the Super Nintendo, where it's sort of fake 3D on the Super Nintendo. Think Mario Kart, where the background is sort of rotated to give perspective, but all the sprites are still totally flat.
Yeah.
Or like F-Zero.
Yes, F-Zero is the main example actually. And then and Paper Mario, instead of it has like 3D worlds, but all the characters are literally paper thin, but they can do things like squeeze through cracks in the walls, or fold themselves into airplanes, or roll themselves up. And so it's almost like a paper puppet theater version of the Mario games, and all the characters make in-jokes, and it's all referring to self-reflexivity, which is pretty rare in video games compared to other media.
Yeah.
Like, there's tons of TV shows and books and movies that are very wink-wink about the medium, like breaking the fourth wall and blah blah. But I think for a long time that was not that common in video games.
Everything with indie video games these days. I
Yeah,
think.
exactly.
It's like the side scroller and he's turning on his
Yeah.
head.
Or like what's the name of that RPG parody series? That Disgaea or
Oh yeah,
Just-
yeah. I like those.
Just Gaia.
Disgaea? I don't know.
There's also that the Shaq, or Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh no, Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley.
Charles
That's the
That
one.
was like this guy has like a serious
Oh,
game
shit.
series.
Yeah.
I like in that you can level up to 9,999 if you wanted to.
Right.
They're the same people who made Phantom Brave,
Oh.
which I really liked. Wasn't really a parody, but it's a similar game style.
This is pretty daunting right now. What I'm doing.
So is most of your research done on video games, or?
Well, it's all off side projects now. I mean, I'm supposed to figure out what my actual dissertation's about sometime next year. So probably, I am doing a literature degree, so it's probably going to have to be about literature. But anyway, I've been having a lot of fun with this at least.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's weird because no one in Japan studies works on video games and vice versa. Like, video game studies is pretty huge, but no one knows Japanese, even though most video games came from there for like a decade and a half.
It's probably this. I mean, even now, the second most important market for video games.
Oh yeah, definitely. Though other ones are growing.
Yeah.
And the Brazil video game industry is apparently the next big thing, so we'll see.
Yeah. Well, everyone on. I play a lot of online games, and everyone online is from the Philippines or Brazil.
Right. What's that meme with Brazilian laughing?
Oh, they just spell it Huehui, so it looks
That's
like.
so
And they have like a goofy face. Yeah, they're in everything, and they always make their names like, but just put BR at the end of their names.
Yeah.
So they're always like, Killer 27 BR in all caps.
Yeah. And the online anime fandom, I think Brazilians are also one of the main part of it now. It's pretty interesting.
I think there's just like 250 million
Yeah.
Brazilians, and so
That makes sense.
then they have the internet now. So well, it's just like the same thing with Indonesians and Philippines, because they use the English internet. So
Yeah, that's true. The Japanese internet is completely cut off from the English one, basically, which is. Yeah. I mean, they even have their own version of YouTube, right?
Yeah, I've noticed you never really Google anything, get a Japanese site.
No.
What's their Facebook?
Mixi. I think it's called Mixi, but they also use Facebook, but neither are that popular compared to here, percentage-wise.
What social network is big in Japan?
Mixi is the most preferred because I think that's what it's called. Because it allows anonymity, which is quite important. Hence, 2chan, like the huge internet forums that 4chan were based on, like that's still the most popular Japanese website.
Is it as depraved as 4chan?
Much more even. Well, it's depraved in a different way. It's very right wing. It freaks me out. I don't like logging in. One of my friends in my program, he worked at a Japanese bookshop for a year in the old bookstore district, and a newspaper interviewed him saying, "What are your favorite Japanese authors?" And he gave a lot of like old classical names, and this was posted on 2chan, and the top 40 comments were like, "Stupid foreigner, he should die." Kill all Koreans. Like, it's just really horrible stuff.
So it's like YouTube.
Yeah.
I guess
pretty much.
As a history major, Nick,
Yes.
you can attest that is how you defeat the phalanx, is with a giant club.
Yes.
And run around for a while.
That's how the Romans did it.
Use large blocks to get some shield between you.
Yep. It's all true. It's all true, folks.
Ooh. I don't use pyromancy, but there you go.
Andrew, how do you feel about Haruki Murakami?
I know you've been reading a lot of him.
Yeah.
So I'll take it easy.
You don't like it?
I don't like him too much. I don't know. I like his non-fiction a lot. Like Underground, where he interviews a lot of people hit by the sarin gas attacks.
Oh yeah.
That was really good. I like what I think about when I talk about when I talk about running.
Yeah.
He's a really good interviewer, a really good listener, and all of his protagonists are really good listeners, but that kind of bores me.
Yeah, I can definitely see a lot of the protagonists are sort of no personality.
Yeah.
And the storylines are kind of meandering.
Yeah.
So what's good about him?
Well, he has a sort of feel and a vibe, and and real pretty cool imagery that's quite arresting. But it's more I don't like him out of sort of bitterness because it's like, oh, you work on Japanese literature?
Yeah.
Haruki Murakami. I'm like,
He's the one Japanese author I've heard of. So.
Yeah. He's really good friends with my advisor, which is weird. I think. But I don't know. Yeah. I don't think he deserves a Nobel Prize, but I'm glad he's so popular because that makes things easier for me. Because now that markets are a lot more open to Japanese literature translations because of his success.
Yeah. I think most
Who's the guy
genres have like a pioneer like that, no matter whether or not they're really the best example.
Yeah.
It's good to have them.
Well, I mean, what he does is totally unique, and I'm not into it, but I definitely respect it.
Yeah.
But what's weird with him is reading him in Japanese is an almost identical experience to reading him in English. I mean, the possibly apocryphal story is that when he wrote his first book, he started writing it in Japanese, and then he's like, this isn't working. So then he wrote the first page in English, then he translated it back into Japanese. He's like, okay, now you got it. So his writing style is always Englishy.
Yeah.
Which, I guess that you can't really get a sense of that when you read it in English, how Englishy it is.
Well, what would you characterize as a Japanesey writing style?
Well, I mean, Murakami tends to really use a lot more pronouns than normal Japanese.
Yeah, yeah.
Just Japanesey writing style. There's like authors who maybe they have sentences that last 5 pages and they never mention who's talking or who's doing anything. Just a sort of stream of consciousness, but not really type of thing. But Murakami tends to make things a lot clearer.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. But those authors, of course, when they're translating to English, they just read like English again, so it's tricky.
Who's the author that did Never Let Me Go?
Oh, that's Kazuo Ishiguro.
Oh my god.
What the fuck was that?
It was a spinning skeleton.
Ishiguro I like, but he writes in English.
Ah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. That I saw the movie for that and I really liked it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Good twist. But in the movie, it's not a twist, right? They just tell you what's going on at the beginning?
Yeah. I didn't realize there was a twist.
Well, I don't want to spoil it for listeners, maybe, but the true nature of the whole thing and what the people actually are and blah, 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 that's a twist in the book. But in the movie, I guess they sort of foregrounded it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think I know about it from the trailers.
Right, yeah.
That's the problem with trailers these days in general, is
I know.
ruining movies.
Yeah.
And I like trailers.
I like trailers too. But,
This was a mistake
So-
coming down here.
the worst was the movie Wreck and its remake Quarantine, like the horror film.
Oh, I remember that coming out.
Right. And oh, yeah, I missed it. It's infamous because the commercials, they keep highlighting this image of like a woman being dragged away into darkness while there's a camera on the floor that she dropped. And like that was the scene on the posters used to sell the movie, but really it's like it's a last shot of the movie, and it's much better if you don't know if you see the commercial, you're just waiting for that sheet the whole time. So it's not a spoiler in terms of plot or anything, but just definitely sort of messes with your experience.
It's like any comedy movie now.
Yeah.
The 4 best jokes are ruined before you, if it's heavily.
I still want to see This Is the End, though. I must have.
Yeah, Steve saw that.
Any good? Okay.
He said yes to me earlier. So I came all the way up here for that? Just to get toxic.
What is this?
This is a room where I can't escape from.
Great.
There's no reason. There's a guy who I killed and toxic me.
Welcome to Dark Souls. He died in 1 hit though, unlike the other toxic friends.
Yeah. I guess he gave me that pyromancy. Wish if I was a pyromancer, that would be important. So I think the only thing we'll have to do here, other than die a lot, is to kill that dragon guy.
I think so.
So I need to find an efficient way to get up there. I might just run, well, because he'll chase me. I need to find an efficient way to get to him without getting...
Maybe this tunnel will.
No, because
That's
it
it.
leads to a dead end.
That's weird. There's got to be something down there.
And I need to...
Is there usually something?
I think that guy with his back to me, who I killed and got a pyromancy,
Oh, that
spell?
was it.
that was a thing.
Okay.
Normally it's actually an item, but I think he was a special guy where if you kill him, you get that item.
Just run back to the.
Yeah.
So how are you enjoying living in the Boston area?
I really like it, actually.
Okay, so I do finally.
Now I'm living in Somerville,
Oh yeah.
in the part that's close to campus, so... But it's nice, I mean...
Yeah.
If I had to move to the States, I'm glad I was there.
Yeah. So you and I basically traded.
Lives.
Spots, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that
Well,
Eddie
not
Murphy
the-
movie.
Yeah. That was a good movie, I just saw it. I really like how it's all arranged into squares too.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Which is your favorite square? Harvard Square?
No.
No. You must be sick of that.
I hate Harvard Square now. But
Can't really go
Right.
many places unless you have a ton of money.
yeah. Well, right now I'm living right in between Union and Inman Square, both of which I like a lot.
Okay.
And Davis has really good barbecue.
Yeah, Davis is great.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty into a lot of it.
Have you been to Grendel's Den?
Yes, I really like
Yeah.
that place.
I like that place too, but it does get packed.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I always hear that's the grad student hangout.
it is.
So
One of them at least.
anytime I go back, we usually go there once and try to blend in. Yeah, Somerville's not all bad.
No, yeah.
I've had friends that live there.
What is Somerville like? Is that like just a suburban?
No,
It's
So-
semi-urban.
Yeah,
More
I mean,
urban than
at least the
suburban.
part I live, it's hard to distinguish it from Cambridge. Actually, it's just
Yeah.
Are there a lot of
it
students?
It feels a lot like here. Yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah.
it's a student ghetto. It's apparently one of the most densely populated parts of America.
Yep. It's just like
Really?
100,000 people in a
Yeah,
very
it's
small
pretty
area.
tiny. Yeah.
But
Wow.
because every house is like 3 stories, and each story has
That's
like 4 people on
Yeah,
it.
definitely. It's,
Vertical. Mosaic.
yeah. But
Uh,
at least the part I'm in is safe. There's a lot of bars, a lot of stores of every kind. But the local supermarket they just tore down to replace with yet another Whole Foods, and I can't afford Whole Foods to be my main grocery store, so trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, oh my god, Mike.
That was dumb.
Oh,
That's your classic way of dying in this.
Yeah.
is it? Okay.
Yeah, usually falling from a great height is my.
It's probably like
Death of choice.
75% of my stats.
Is that supposed to be the experience, or you just fall prone?
I think I am good at, well, except in this area, normally good at the actual combat.
Right.
So at this point, the only thing that kills me is falling. Again, because the platforming is not, it's really bad. Not just like,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
not just difficult from a design perspective.
Just-
It just gets poorly implemented.
Yeah. What's the problem with like one of in terms of plot and look, one of my favorite games is American McGee's Alice, and it's fun fighting things, but it's just a completely broken Quake 3 engine that you're supposed to do intricate platforming on. It's just so frustrating.
Yeah. I like plenty of broken games. That's like Deadly Premonition is one of my.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I recently played that one.
Yeah. What do you think?
Oh, that was yeah, like you said, it's pretty broken in many ways, but
With the map?
it's just a really cool game. Though.
Yeah. It.
Very unique.
Yeah. I mean, I have a soft spot for games and books and movies about time traveling, I guess. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Is that part of Deadly Premonition?
Isn't it?
Time travel?
Well, sort of. In that, I mean, maybe not time traveling, but working on different timelines and time scales.
Oh, it happened again.
Solving your own murder. Is that, are we talking about the same game?
I don't think so.
Okay.
What game are you talking about?
I don't know. It's Konami, right?
No. It's. Or did Konami make it? I don't think so.
Deadly, it's like a Twin Peaks style.
Yeah.
Where you're like an agent in a town, and
Oh, I guess I'm thinking about a similar game by the same creators where you die, but then you have to solve your own murder by traveling around time a little.
Is that a 2D game?
It's I guess more of an adventure game.
Yeah, but it's like an indie game?
No, it's also by Konami.
Hmm.
Maybe it's just in Japanese, I forget.
Yeah.
Anyway, Deadly Premonition, good game. Not time travel. Should be.
You do travel in time at the end of that.
there's lots of flashbacks.
That could be it. Maybe that was thinking. I mean,
In any case, let's
compared
both
to
agree
books
that
and
it's a good game.
movies and TV shows. Again, video games don't tend to use playing with time a lot, unless
True.
like flashbacks, flash forwards, prologues that are set in different time. It tends to be a lot more contiguous, I guess.
Well, Eternal Darkness, that's all about traveling.
Yeah, which is why I like it so much. One of the reasons.
There was a Kickstarter for a sequel to that game, which failed.
How much did you donate, Mike?
None, because Dennis Dyack, the Silicon Knights guy, is kind of a
Think?
yeah. And so I didn't trust it, and no one trusted him. So,
Mm.
but they're going ahead with it without the Kickstarter,
Okay. I mean,
and so I hope it works out.
one of the recent sequel Kickstarters that was really successful was the Planescape Torment one. Did you ever play that game?
No.
No.
It's a Baldur's Gate-esque Western RPG, but it's set in a Dungeons and Dragons setting that's really surreal, and you play like a nameless man, and your sidekick's a floating head, and it's in a weird city. Anyway, but it was a very popular game, and it made hundreds of thousands of dollars in the first hours it was up.
Wow. I saw a lot of not remakes, but sequels to like early '90s space simulation games have
Yeah.
done really well on Kickstarter recently.
Those are back in a big way. And adventure games in general, like
That was bad.
What have you?
I mean,
what have you done?
Trying
Mike?
to get items, and it didn't work out. I'm
I
trapped.
mean, that genre was basically dead. Escape from Monkey Island, the last one didn't do well, and Grim Fandango was critically acclaimed but didn't
Oh,
do
God.
well. But they're very loyal fans, so those are the most popular Kickstarters right now. Like point and clicks.
Yeah, Tim Schafer.
Yeah, his Double Fine adventure game.
Yeah.
That's the one that made $2 million.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Giant Bomb, the video game site.
Yeah.
And they were good friends with the Double Fine guys. So I'm pretty excited about the
Yeah, me too.
Tim Schafer thing.
Yeah, I don't into that one, definitely.
Alright, so here's the plan.
Yep.
I'm going to get up to that top of this thing. Try and fight that dragon once. See how it goes.
Okay.
If it goes poorly, which it will, we'll call it a show. And the next episode will be all about being that guy. So I just want to get that item. I know I have to drop down from somewhere on these stairs to get to it.
Just go to the
I'll
dragon
save
first.
that for a later date.
Yeah.
Exciting conclusion to that.
Spend a whole episode trying to get that item one time.
That's an FAQ spot. Maybe from like up here.
Dad,
Anyway,
put it out of your mind, Mike.
probably like it's a humanity.
You never even use the items. Have you even used any of the souls?
Look at that item right there.
Ah!
Oh,
That guy went for it too.
He failed.
Look at that soul.
So you'll never ever use. Maybe before the final boss you'll just level up 100 times by burning all the souls that you never use.
Eventually I'll use them. Okay, here we go.
Some sort of like Colosseum kind of thing.
Yeah, this is a Romanesque fight. Oh, this is not even where the dragon is.
No. There's that. What
What's
does that do?
I have no idea. Something for invading, probably.
Yeah.
So where the hell is that dragon? I went up these stairs.
It's over there.
There he is. Hey, buddy.
Jump from here down there.
Yeah, that'll work. Down. I need to descend. So how do I get to him?
Not good for people with fear of heights.
Yeah, it kind of gave me vertigo too.
You go out that way.
yeah.
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 Wait.
Wait. Maybe? Yes.
This way?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go down there.
Alright, don't rush me.
Hurry up. I know you can't be
I'm
rushed.
sure there's a bonfire right here. Well, it's daunting. There's not a lot of room to fight this guy. Let me look at my surroundings. Like, what's this?
It's a shortcut.
This is where you escaped the first time, right?
Yeah, and then you died of toxic. So this is the shortcut if you're down there.
Yeah. Okay, I'm ready.
So does this game never have music usually? Or?
Yeah.
Only in the Firelink Shrine.
And
So-
Ash Lake had it.
Yeah.
We were down there for like 2 months.
Few spots. Did he just jump off and die?
No.
Yes? No.
No,
So I think he just jumped off. I swear to God. I imagined it.
be careful.
Okay.
Oh man.
Oh, okay, so he's just a toxic sludge guy. Don't.
That's the word
Dude,
of the day.
don't.
He's just a toxic sludge guy. Roll.
Piece of cake.
He's not even a boss. And he doesn't have a whole boss. Oh. Piece of cake.
Well,
Terrible kid.
What is he?
I don't know. I don't care to know. But we will find out next time.
Yep.
Alright.
Well, thanks for having me. This was fun.
Thanks
for
for
joining
joining
us.
us,
It
Andy.
was a good discussion. And, hopefully we'll beat that guy next time.
Yeah.
Bye.